Hey everyone, welcome to Telli Talks, where we talk about life, growth, relationships, and all things in between. We are here at the Classic Cat, and I am here with wellness podcaster, health coach, and veteran, Chase Chewning.
All the above. Thank you so much. All right.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for being patient, because it's been a day.
Mondays, right? Mondays. This is fantastic time.
Maniac Mondays. I feel like it is for me.
This is fantastic.
She's amazing, Maria. Shout out to Maria, our bartender.
Maria killing it. So good.
Okay, so for the people that don't know your journey, tell us how you got to where you are today.
Well, somehow I got lost on my way from Virginia. I don't know. Sometimes I really do find myself asking that question out loud. How did I get here? I've been in LA for about 5 years now, but I came from this tiny, tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, Southwest Virginia. Grew up on close to 200 acres. And just me, my family, a bunch of pets, a bunch of probably getting into too much trouble, and now here I am. A lot of life has happened in between there. Right out of the gate, kind of following my father's footsteps, decided to join the Army after high school. Didn't have a whole lot of options, or I felt like I didn't have a whole lot of options after high school. College was kind of meh. Didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I knew jumping into that game would be potentially a lot of wasted time, a lot of wasted money. And so this was 2003, and we're at the height of Operation Iraqi Freedom. We're a country at war. That just seemed to kind of call to me, not saying I wanted to go to war, but just kind of servitude, being of service right there. And so I did that, and a lot of things happened in between that have completely shifted. I'm not doing anything I am today that I did then for Uncle Sam. Were
you in the military for 4 years?
Six
actually. Years? Okay.
6, yeah. When they dangle that nice little enlistment bonus for like a couple more years,
the time.
They got me. So they pushed me up to 6, and I got a $20,000 sign-up bonus, all these education benefits, and
great healthcare.
Great healthcare. And that was my journey. That was my plan. And actually, it's funny, that was going to be my plan for the next 20 years.
Right.
The military's got a great 20-year plan. And I recently turned 38, and so this year, or maybe even last year, would have retired. And who doesn't want to retire at 37, 38?
Right.
That's really appealing. But, what do they say? Man plans and God laughs kind of thing. And so about 4.5, 5 years into my career, I was trying to change up my job a little bit. I was in the intelligence community. I was actually a Russian intelligence specialist.
Oh, wow.
Be pretty hopping right now. And I wanted to kind of change things up. I wanted to, change up what I was doing. I wanted to apply my skill sets and just really be a soldier in a different capacity, volunteering for some different deployment opportunities. And nothing was really sticking until I finally found one that was going to be pretty fruitful. They finally were going to take me. I gotten promoted, done all these things to, get on the deployment opportunity roster. And in preparation for that, during war game training, I actually suffered the injuries that wound up getting me kicked out of the military. Wound up having both my hips completely reconstructed. Rods in both of my hips, femurs removed, reshaped, had to learn how to walk again.
How did this injury get caused? What caused this injury?
It sounds
intense.
Really, really intense, and it was. And for about 1.5 years, I was pulled out of my roster, pulled out of my regular unit, and I was just a patient. I was going through surgeries, going through therapy. It sounds really intense, and it really was, physically and mentally, a very trying time in my life. I had to basically rebuild myself physically, rebuild myself identity-wise, and kind of build a whole new life. I was training, out in the field, and war game preparation, and I was leading this ambush on, we call it the OP4, the opposing force. And just one of those freak accidents where you're going all in the wrong way, the wrong momentum, all the cards are stacked against you. We were out there for maybe just a few days, but I was in all my body armor, had my weapon, I had all my gear, and I was leading this assault, and I just popped up and kind of like led this assault over this little hill, and just my body was like, eh. So tore my hamstring, L4, my L5 vertebrae kind of went one way, the rest of my back went another way, and just all kind of, I thought I got shot, honestly, Telli. I heard this pop, felt this horrendous pain. Next thing you know, I'm waking up on the ground, the medic is like kind of like reviving me. The pop was my hamstring. It like coiled up into the back of my leg. And so next thing you know, I'm in a hospital, and they're like, no, there's a lot more going on here. You're no good for a deployment. You're no good really for anything right now. And then, they went in and redid my femurs, and at the end, Chewning, you're non-deployable, which basically kind of means you're no good to us at all. So they want to give me medical retirement. So I didn't do the full 20, but I did retire after 6 years. I'm a little like overachiever, just a little bit. I don't know. I guess a lot of the same benefits I'm very grateful for.
How was that recovery process of like the healing process of that? Because, you know, usually post-operative care, 6 to 8 weeks, average.
Nurse Telli coming out. Nurse Telli
average. How was that recovery?
Really, really trying. Really trying. Hospital for multiple days. At home, bed rest for weeks. Physical therapist coming to the home. Getting picked up from transportation. Being assisted into the vehicle to go to physical therapy 3-4 times a week. Pool therapy, traditional physical therapy. A lot of nothing. And now I understand that these procedures, and even I think really any surgical procedure, they don't want you sedentary for very long. It's, you know, get them up, get them moving,
right.
Get the blood flowing, get the healing. Back then, I mean, this was 2007 and 2008. It was no, chill, do nothing. We want you completely immobilized. We don't want, you know, risk of re-injury. We want you to just like heal
Rest.
As is. Exactly.
Right, like let your body naturally heal on its own.
So it was about 8 to 10 months each side of that. So once I was like a real boy again, could load bear, could walk, they would go back into the other side. So it was just kind of wash, rinse, repeat for about 1.5 years.
How was that mentally for you?
I haven't fully processed the mental tryingness of that until now. Then, I mean, I was 22, 23, and years into my military career. And so I kind of just took it as my next orders. So now I'm realizing, no, that actually sucked, Chase. That wasn't like fun. And your body, your psyche, your mental capacity, all of that took a pretty deep impact. And I kind of just stuffed it down, which was kind of par for the course for a lot of things in my life back then. And just said, no, I'll deal with it later. There's no time for that. This is what I was given. These are my orders. This is what I just have to do. And if I don't like it, too bad. There's a lot of this.
Exactly. This is what I signed up for.
Exactly. Yeah, I was really trained to not complain, trained to do what I was told. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even when it came to getting banged up a little bit, I did the same thing.
That was a lot of it, not a little bit.
That was a
lot of banging up. That was tough. Yeah.
So, you know, from like about midway my quad to the top of my glute on both sides, it's just one big incision. And they go in, they remove the femur, reshape it, put it back in, and then I've got 2 rods in either hip.
Oh, man. So after the healing of that, what was the next step for you?
The next step was just the next mission. They told me, hey, you're out. I literally signed out with my wheelchair on the roof of my SUV and my cane in the back seat, drove from Texas back to my home state of Virginia, and took about 2 weeks downtime and was reacclimating to my family and getting settled back and kind of establishing myself this new identity of I'm no longer Staff Sergeant Chewning, I'm just Chase again. What does that mean? What does that look like? And it was a really unique transition time in my family as well because my father had actually passed away a couple years prior to that. And yeah, man, he was my everything. He was the reason why I joined the Army, and him and I were best friends, and it really rocked my world. He passed away from ALS, I'm sure you're familiar with a really gnarly disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. A lot of people might know it as Lou Gehrig's disease. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of took that burden on. I was the older brother. I felt like I was the man of the house now. I was gone for so many years during my father's illness. And I kind of took that on as self-inflicted need to be present with my family. Right. And so I kind of just really injected myself. And again, didn't really pay any attention to what I needed physically or mentally. It was just, I'm here now. You guys got me. Kind of like just inserting myself. No one asked for you to be here, Chase, kind of thing. They were glad to have me. Again, a lot of reflection back on that time, but I just didn't want to go anywhere. And my brother, he's 4 years younger than me.
You're the eldest.
I am the oldest of 3. And he had just started college. So me getting out of the military and our age gap was perfect timing for him to start school. So, I got all these benefits. Let me put some things to use here.
Right.
And I decided to enroll in school. I was maybe a month out of the Army. And here I am hobbling around campus on a cane, 24 years old, having my mom help me go to like different seminars and enrollment and all this stuff. And I decided to study exercise science. was like, you know what? I'm getting a little bit better. Not really loving the VA healthcare system. And I want to really kind of take this on my own. And so I did. So I'm this disabled kid, this disabled veteran, walk around campus going to exercise physiology class, anatomy, strength and conditioning programming, going to the gyms, going to the labs. And I eventually kind of really just learned the human body in ways that I never thought possible. In ways that were just like foundational for everybody, but also, man, I can move again. I can learn, different ways to go about daily living. I can learn, how to really build a strong foundation, strong core. What does mobility look like? What is stretching? What does, rehabilitation look like beyond just a PT?
Right.
And actually take this into the classroom, take it into the gym. So just being really mindful of my injuries, I was able to navigate my experience and the human experience in some really unique ways. And I kind of fell in love with it. And I really realized that, I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger, I'm learning so much about the human potential. I actually have to do it for internships, and I'm gonna need to get a job or something. And I really just realized that this could be my next thing,
right?
Because I loved it, and also once I began to kind of tell people, so imagine you're my gym client, personal training client, health coaching client, and we start talking like a lot of us do, and I'm late because of this, or I didn't do this workout because of that reason. People come up with the most wild excuses as to why they can't
workout.
We've all been there. We're all human.
I do it all the time. I do it every day. Don't tell me.
I still do it. I'm a professional, right?
Yeah.
And I would sympathize, I would empathize, and then I would begin to kind of share with them my story a little bit. And it's hard to beat the story of the guy who had to learn how to walk again twice, as to why you stub your toe and can't go to the gym. Right. And so I realized there was a way for me to kind of really help people kind of push past their own excuses. Absolutely. And really show them what is possible if you choose to just put one foot in front of the other. If you choose to move forward in life, even just a little bit, you can overcome some of the most wild setbacks.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna take it back to you going back home to your injury, dealing with your father passing away and having to be the eldest. I'm the eldest of all my siblings, and I know what it feels like to be put in the position of having to be that leader in the household. The I call it the manager of the family. Yeah, being that manager of the family, dealing with what you are dealing with individually as a person, and then having to come home and have this responsibility. Do you think going back to school kind of took your focus away from what you went through and what you dealt with your father, and kind of just focused on like being more motivational for other people, and making sure that maybe someone that went through a situation like yourself, you can help kind of like guide them in a better situation in a sense?
100%. It was kind of just, it was an excuse that no one was going to question.
Right.
It was my self-imposed next set of orders.
Yes.
No one would think twice as to Chase is now back home. Chase is going to be the big brother. He's going to be with his family. He's going to make up, in my mind, nobody really knew this at the time, make up for lost time.
Right.
Make up for being the brother that's gone with his sister and his brother. Make up for the son that was gone, during this wild, difficult time of my dad being ill and being, kind of, for lack of a better term, a really strong burden on so many other members of my family. Nobody would ever say that about that time, but I mean, when you're dealing with someone that's terminal and has literally every day is losing their ability to move, to talk, to do anything on their own, they need full-time care.
Right.
And so it was just kind of this easy way for me to go, here's my next mission. Right. Here's the next thing that I have to focus on, and put aside anything and everything else that I might need to work on. I literally was rebuilding my body. I was, unbeknownst to me at the time, having to establish this whole new identity, which is something that a lot of service members struggle with. I mean, but also anybody transitioning from one career to another, one move, one relationship to another. There's this identity aspect that I didn't fully realize at the time. And I was hanging up my hat, quite literally, of a way of living that was so indoctrinated in my every fiber of my being. And then just one day, it's gone. Like, you take off the uniform, you lose that support system, and then you just got to go figure out life on your own. And you go back to a family. Luckily for me, my family, we were more or less a military family. They kind of knew the protocol and, the lingo and the posture and
what
and
you're taught.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
But what they didn't know was that it was a mask. It was an easy mask for me to hide behind that years later, it definitely kind of show up, and I was forced to really deal with it.
And how did you deal with it moving forward years later? As far as, did you, train people to kind of to deal with that, to be like, hey, I'm back, I'm stronger than ever, I'm here now, I did it,
Look at me, I got the gold star.
Past school, I'm back to that, back to yourself. How did you get back to yourself?
I hit rock bottom. I felt the ground, and I had the right people around me to really call me out, that I didn't have to be there. I didn't have to suffer in silence. And I'm talking just really mentally. Years go by, I get my education, I'm strong again, I'm doing things with my body and my life that literally I was told would be very, very difficult to do, maybe even impossible. So I'm advancing through school, I'm starting my new career, I'm getting promoted, going to grad school, the strongest I'd ever been, getting leaner. And this was the era of bodybuilding and if it fits your macros and flexible dieting and, everybody, this whole fitness boom, social media boom that I was really attaching myself to because, man, there was a time when I couldn't. There was a time when I really couldn't. And there was no one around me to kind of support or fan that flame.
Or know what you went through, or even to know that it could be more triggering than they would think.
Oh my gosh, exactly, yeah. And trigger being the key word, trigger warning for everybody. That's what happened. One day, I suffered this wild panic attack. I'd been going months at that time, probably years since my father passed, but months of things happening and me reacting that I later learned was undiagnosed PTSD. And I was watching, I'll never forget, I was literally shaken awake from my now wife, then girlfriend, also a nurse. And I just had no idea what had happened. And she was just dumbfounded as we were just watching a movie, and all of a sudden my chest is concaved, cold sweats, blacking out, like hyperventilating, completely just inconsolable. And we kind of like peeled back the layers of what happened, and I realized there's this death scene in the movie. And just like they did with my father, this curtain, kind of just the sheet, carried up over the body. And that set me off. And then she realized, kind of through sharing, what really kind of happened, what I wasn't working on.
Right.
She's like, you look great, cool. You got the promotion, amazing. This isn't going to work for you. It's damn sure not going to work for us if we can't go to a movie, if you're not going to work on these other things that
are deeper rooted.
Yeah. And also, like, you're not safe.
Right.
And I then began to kind of share with her, a lot of times this would happen when I was alone. This would happen when I was driving. This would happen when I would be out in a restaurant, when I would listen to music, go to movies. I would have to completely remove myself from the situation. I would be triggered. This wasn't the first time somebody was having to resuscitate me.
This was the first time she witnessed it.
Exactly. And there's a lot of credit to be said, or a lot of credit to be given to having the right person in your life call you out.
Absolutely.
That call out
the right way too.
The right way, in a tough love, but still the right way.
Absolutely.
I then realized that, if I don't work on this, if I don't work on my mental health, if I don't address these things that I've been stuffing down for a decade plus at that time, I'm going to lose her.
Right.
I'm going to lose this relationship that I really care about. And so her calling me out made me want to work on me for the sake of her, not yet the sake of me.
Right.
But through that process, I kind of realized, actually, it's good to want to take care of yourself. It's okay to call these things out on your own, and it's okay. And then I kind of just I listened to every podcast. I started reading every self-help book. I started journaling. I started just pouring it out. I was like, there's no way that I'm not going to outwork this.
Right.
Because I've proven to myself that I can outwork. I can show up every damn day for the physical aspect. I can move forward in these other areas of my life. Why haven't I chosen to do the same thing in the other area?
Right.
That clearly matters enough for this meaningful relationship.
Do you feel like men, especially, are taught, or society has made men think that you have to mask your hurt, or you have to, like, I'm a man, I have to mask this because I'm less of a man, or I'm not manly enough if I show that I have this thing that I'm dealing with, that
this weak side,
right?
Yeah. That
triggers some type of emotional, whether it's emotional stress, emotional PTSD. It just triggers some type of emotion that you're not used to dealing with, that you're taught not to publicize.
I can speak to my experience, and I can say that definitely at the height of when all this was going down for me, when I found out my dad is dying, when I went home on emergency medical leave to bury him at 19 years old, when I went through the next several years of my military career and becoming just a young man, regardless of the profession, any person, I think especially young guy, coming of age, leaving home for the first time, separating from father and figuring out your role in the world. There's a lot of societal norms, especially then, this is 20 years ago, that were there for sure, but also a lot of preconceived notions, a lot of assumptions, and especially in my profession at the time, man, if you were seen going down the hall at the hospital towards the wrong wing, talking to the wrong doctor, I'm talking about mental health, psychology, psychiatry, therapy, it could be detrimental to your career.
Right.
It could be detrimental to the trust that everyone around you has in your capability.
Right. But more importantly, detrimental to you.
The most detrimental.
Individual, absolutely.
I took on this notion that if I take care of myself, I am going to ruin this path that I have just started. I am most likely not going to get promoted. It was a lot of just taking on these assumptions, but also I think anybody during that time, like I was active duty 03 to 09, I feel confident any other guy would say that if you chose to really work on your mental health, and if it was public in any capacity to your team members, to your commander, to leadership at all, you could be, put in the back. You could be put in a different unit. You could all of a sudden find yourself being passed over for promotion. And when you meet the criteria in every other way, that's the kind of lingering variable. And I just didn't. And so I think a lot of guys, especially police, first responders, military, there very much so was this idea that deal with that later.
Yes.
And later being not when you're home, not when you're off duty, not when the mission's over.
Years later.
Years later.
Yes.
When you take this off finally for the last time.
Right.
And sometimes not even then, because some guys, especially after a long time in the career, even a short time, your brothers in there are the only relationships that you have, the only relationships that you maintain. And if even after you take the uniform off, those guys, the thought that they might think differently of you because you're crying, because you're scared, because you're not sure what's going on inside of you. I know so many guys that have come back from TDYs, deployments, have come out of just their job and been, in an odd way, more able to process that, because that's the norm of the job, right? Than somebody in my shoes who their parent died during all of that. I think we've come a long way. I really do. I think now, here we are wrapping up 2023. I think we're in a place where I don't even know if I would say the norm is the same. I don't think, maybe it's just the world that I'm living in, but
I agree.
I think we're in a place to where I don't agree that society says man has to be this one way.
Right.
I think maybe it's just, the LA vibe right now. I'm sure middle America and a lot of other people out there are probably feeling that way. But I think, thanks to a lot of social media and a lot of guys finally healing themselves.
Absolutely.
And realizing how damn good it feels and how much of a hindrance it has been to so many other areas of their life and their relationship and their profession, even their health, their physical health. Man, I want to scream it from the mountaintops. Nothing I have done over the years of taking care of my physical health in the military, sports, rehabilitating from those injuries. I never competed, but really getting into bodybuilding and powerlifting and just seeing what this vessel, this meat bag can do. Man, when I tapped into really allowing up here and down here, the head and the heart, to just be open and to not judge it and to find the right containers for anything and everything to come out, and then channel that in the right avenues to, maybe that's just me in my own time journaling, maybe that's sharing it with my wife or a brother or a sibling or getting professional help.
Right.
The return on that I can't even put a price tag on it. I can't even accurately fully describe. It's easier to say like, oh, I do this workout or I do this biohack or I take care of myself in this way. Here's the ROI. Here's quantitative data, qualitative way, number or feeling. But with the emotional side, it's just, man, I was sleepwalking, Telli, for so long. And now I'm living with eyes wide open.
I love that for you. I love that for your growth. I love that for your wife. I love that for your union.
Especially for my wife, yeah.
I love that for what's to come in the future for you. I know you're married and you don't have kids currently.
Not yet.
You're working on it.
We are working on it.
Okay, so how many kids are we talking here? Are we talking 2, 1, 10, 12?
All right, so Chase, before having kids, I want a whole village. I want a brood. I love 5. Honestly, I think realistically, we're going to land on 3. I'm from a family of 3. She's from a family of 3. Look, it ain't getting easier out there. It ain't getting cheaper.
Right.
I for sure at least 2, but I feel like 3. Yeah.
3 is a good number.
Yeah. You have 2, right?
I have 2 that I birthed, and we have 6. D has 6, but together we have 8.
I love that.
And he wants 4 more.
4 more.
We have this discussion all the time.
Oh, I bet.
So this is an ongoing discussion on how many children I'm capable of having, how many children we can adopt, and how many children we could surrogate, and we are working on our compromise. That's where we're
that
at
sounds
with
very
that.
healthy. Very healthy.
We're working on our compromise because he's like 12 is 12, and that's it. It's not, it started off with an even number. It started off with we're at 8, maybe 10, maybe.
Like
it's tough.
A Sprinter van.
We have a Sprinter van.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to have a Sprinter van. That's for all the kids. But if we add any more, we're gonna need a bus. So traveling with 8 kids, like for example, we went to Universal Studios, right, with all the kids. So
Did
we
you
had
rent it out?
No, we had a tour guide, we had 2 security guards, 1 nanny, all the kids, me and him. So it was like the security guards had to stand up because there was no room on van for everyone.
I bet.
So we get there, and this is like an ongoing process for me. So I go to Costco and I look like I'm buying out the whole Costco. We go to Universal and we're taking all the
Oh my gosh.
the carts at Universal. So when people want a lot of kids, understand it's not just monetary.
Oh, is this like an intervention for me?
No. 5 is doable.
Okay.
But when you get like 6, 7, 8, 9,
It's just
10,
logistics.
it's a lot. It's overwhelming. And people are looking at you and you're at wherever you're at, you have all these ducklings in a line. Literally.
Wow.
So it's very fun during Christmas, during holidays. When it comes to traveling, insane. When it comes to amusement parks, any big facility of like space with a lot lot of people.
How do you keep tabs on them? Do you have like the kids leashed in?
I mean, at this point, we're going to start putting
family net?
tags. I mean, not air tags, Apple tags on them. What are they called? Apple tags, air tags?
Air tags,
in pockets because it's
That's
a
smart.
lot of
That's
them.
smart.
And, even on the property in Alabama, we have 7 acres. So it's like there's some kids that are in the pool house. There's some kids in the middle house, which we call the nest. There's some kids downstairs in the gym area.
My parents would have loved to have that on me.
At?
I grew up we had almost 200 acres.
Insane.
And there were literally a couple of times my grandmother, she called the cops because we were gone for so long. She had no idea where we were. And she's on the porch screaming and yelling, Or as we would say in Virginia, hooting and hollering. And we're just gone.
So,
Nothing. Yeah. And next thing I know, there are cops coming down one of the mountains. I see blue lights, and we're getting picked up, driven home. I'm like, I was just playing in the creek, Grandma.
In the yard.
In the yard.
Right.
The 100-acre yard, the 100-acre wood,
Yeah, it's like now we've just gotten to the point, Deontay wants dogs, so dogs could protect the property.
Absolutely.
We're on an island. The next house is like maybe half a mile away. So it's a distance, and she's elder, so she's amazing. She still like swims in the lake.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, she's still doing her thing. So
See, that's what's up.
Yeah, so she's like, half a mile away, and then the rest is like our space. So we have everything for the kids. We have basketball, volleyball.
It's like a compound.
Literally. So
you don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, but we have so many cameras that we know where everyone is, because the camera is like, okay, well, this one's over there.
I'm sure you got to get some like facial recognition software on there, so you can just, all right, where's Junior?
Exactly. But it's it's so much fun, and they all love each other. They all have different personalities, different character traits. One's overly talkative, one barely talks, one helps with the kids and helps take care.
Can I ask you a question about that? I'm so curious when I have kids, the personality traits of myself that I'm going to see in them.
Yes.
What's the strongest personality trait you see in one of your kids that reminds you most of yourself?
Ooh, my daughter, the youngest, she, it's funny because she's like, Deontay eats for the purpose of eating is to get energy, right?
Right, yeah.
I eat because I indulge and enjoy food. My daughter will like eat me out of a house, and she's 5.
5-year-old daughter.
She likes the most non-5-year-old foods, sushi, caviar, fish.
At 5.
At 5. And that's me all day.
All
like,
right.
I'm like, oh, that's new. It smells good. Let me try it. And he'll be like, what is that? Like, and I'm like, what? Like, it's, I'll eat off his plate, and she's that person like, Mom, I'm hungry again. And that is like everything else is her dad.
Yeah.
Like, my kids are so much like their father that it's like, did I just birth them? And like, her mannerisms, everything. Yeah, like her mannerisms. I feel like my daughter has literally my lips up here and my lips down here. And the way I eat, everything else is her dad. Literally.
My wife is so worried if we have boys, because I'm always hungry too. Even as a kid, my grandmother would say, she's like, Chase, you got 2 hollow legs. I can never get full. She's like, we have boys, we're not gonna be able to afford to feed them. If they got your appetite, we're in trouble.
Yeah, Deontay, like, it's harder for him to put on weight.
Same, yeah.
And I'm like, I
the a-hole,
see
and nobody likes to hear that.
And I gain weight, like literally. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're eating all this, and I can eat literally a spoonful of salad, and I'm like bloated. So it's every time, it never fails.
When I got out of the Army, I was like really getting into like the physical fitness aspect, and I would have to eat about 4,000 to 4,500 calories just to start putting on any kind of weight. And it's so hard to complain about, I have to eat again. But
but when you're a foodie. Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'm a foodie, but he's not a foodie. So like literally during camp, like me and his chef, who happens to be his aunt as well, we're like, it's time to eat. It's time to eat. And he's like, I'm full. I already ate. And I'm like, it's time to eat. Here's a protein shake. It's time to eat. Like, and you're like trying to gain. Yeah. But it's like, his appetite is just like, it could be the best tasting food. And it's like, it's a struggle for him to eat so much, so many times a day. But I don't have that issue. I'm like, I'm eating.
I'm team
the
always
food's
hungry.
Ready.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And my daughter is like that. Like, she goes to the nannies, and the nanny's like, man, she could eat. And I'm like, sorry, she got it from me, And I'm proud of the fact that she got a good appetite, because usually kids that age are like chicken nuggets, pizza.
And I don't like that. What's a broccoli?
Yeah. She's all in.
Good.
All in. She's like, Mom, today I'm eating fruit. She brings snacks. So she has school lunch. And her school lunch, I stopped giving her packed lunch because she's very picky on how she needs her food hot and all this mess. So
she knows what she likes.
Oh my gosh.
She knows what she's like.
I had to give her a school lunch. And then she packs blueberries, strawberries, orange,
Sheep ass.
apple. Yes, because she likes to put the little decorative little things to like
it's
make
gotta
it
look a certain way.
Yeah,
it's gotta be
she
in a
has like
certain
a
order.
little toothpick or whatever, and it's like it has like a little heart or whatever is on the toothpick, and she
She's got an
puts it on
appetite and
everything.
she has style. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
That's me too. So for everyone that comes on, we play this game, and we're gonna do 2 versions this time. We're gonna do the PG version of Pick Your Poison,
and we're gonna go on the other end too, right?
and then we're gonna do the tougher version.
That's such a great idea.
Of A Rock and a Hard Place.
All right.
So we'll do the easy one first. So we'll pick 2 cards each. Rules of the game: you can't remix. You can give your explanation, and you cannot. Oh, you have to answer.
I have to answer. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, first question. Would you rather be thrown into a bullfight with no training whatsoever, or only be able to eat food that has been made into paste?
Well, I mean, coming off that last part of the conversation about food, I can't say the latter. So, bullfight all day. Bullfight all day.
I love it. Okay, it's on you.
I feel like in a way I'm probably prepared for that somehow, some way. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you are. You've been in the military. You're good to go.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball.
Exactly.
So I ask you now.
Yes, pick
All right.
2.
Pick 2.
I'm playing with you, so you're not in the hot seat by yourself.
All right. I like it. Equal opportunity around here. It's fair.
Amen.
Okay, so would you rather be unable to speak unless spoken to directly, or reveal your first impression of everyone the moment you see them a second time?
Ooh, you know what? That's a good one. I'm a talker, as everyone knows. I mean, you know what? I feel like there's certain places or certain situations where you kind of feel like you maybe aren't able to speak your mind due to the circumstances. And I feel like if I knew mentally that I can't speak unless I'm spoken to, I would adapt to that, being that it's already
if this
embedded in my
norm,
mind. Right.
The container.
Right. I would do that.
All right.
That's just because it's embedded in my mind. That's how I would do it. All right. Rock and a hard place.
I'm a talker through and through as well. I think that'd be a tricky one too.
Yeah. I just feel like, all right, this one.
Although the first impression would be funny.
Right?
That would be funny.
And then it's
probably get me in some trouble.
It's almost like verbal diarrhea, where I'm like, what if I want to say something that I don't want to say, and then I say it, and it's like, now I'm judged because I said how I feel, and it's might be too soon.
It might get easier because we might lose some friends in the process. So
right.
We might have less and less people to reveal the first impression to.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. This one's not that bad.
Okay.
Would you rather always have to say everything on your mind, or never be able to speak again?
Oh, I could not speak ever again. And in a way, too, the first one's probably a little bit true. This is why it's great having a partner in your life that can say, shut up.
Right.
I do that a lot.
Right.
I say literally just whatever comes to my mind. She's
right.
like, you're talking out loud again, Chase. Just like so,
calm down.
Exactly. You don't need to say everything that comes to your mind.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I love it. It's on you. I'm the same way.
It's interesting. We get some talking cards.
Right. And it's just naturally that we're talkers. It's
podcasters.
On you. Right. It's on you.
It's on me. Here we go.
Yeah. Some of these ones are wild. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Here we go. These might qualify for the wild one. Would you rather watch your parents have sex every day for the rest of your life?
Never. Whatever the next one is.
What? Or join in once to stop it? Who writes these questions?
The first one. I thought there was nothing worse than the first one, but the first one.
What's worse than watching your parents have sex every day for the rest of your life?
Joining them.
Joining.
I mean, who? Why? What?
It's a no for me. Yeah.
It's a no, both of them, but it's just that is really a rock and a hard place.
No, that's question. Impossible and impossible. Damn.
Do you want to do one more?
I would. Okay. These are fun.
Let's do it. All right. Last but not least. That one's not good enough.
I mean, you have to top. That's the parents one.
Would you rather have the ability to reverse one decision you make each day, or to freeze time for 10 seconds once a day?
That's
a good one.
All right, so I can either freeze time
for 10 seconds,
once a day,
or have the ability to reverse one decision you make each day.
Damn. I think, it would be very off-brand for me to go with reversing a decision. My mantra, my theme, my everything is ever forward, right? So
absolutely.
I feel like the lesser of those two would have to be freezing time.
I would freeze time.
I would freeze time
in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
How cool would it be too? I would just do
I
it
want
just
this to happen.
Just to like walk around and be like real life Matrix.
Let me move your hand down a little bit. Right?
Yeah, I would do that.
I'm doing it too. I'm with you. All right.
If nothing else, I got 10 seconds of mindfulness coming my way every day.
10 seconds of woosah.
Oh.
That's mandatory.
Just woosah. 10 seconds every day. All right, so Telli, would you rather be able to detect any lie you hear or have any lie you tell be automatically believed?
Oh. I would rather be able to detect lies.
I'm with you.
I would rather be able to detect lies because, one, I feel like I tell more white lies, what I like to call white lies.
So you don't
or
really
like
need
they're
to believe
good
it anyway.
lies,
Yeah.
so people don't feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Like just those type of lies, like might help a situation out. I don't know, But I feel like I would rather know when everyone's lying to me because I'm like, I know you're lying. I know it.
Then you can adapt and overcome. You know, because I feel like if you had what was the other part? It was
be able
getting
to
any lie you tell automatically believed. That's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
If everyone
and then you're believing
lie,
your own lie, and if they're believing your lie, then you have to carry that lie. And
nah.
No one has time for that.
I'm not about that. Not about that.
I'll take it.
Okay, thank you.
Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can tune into your podcast, what you have going on, coming up, all that good stuff.
Well, this is where I want to make a very obvious Chase dumb joke. They can't find me because I'm wearing camo. I'm sorry. You can't see me today.
That's so veteran.
I wore camo every day for 6 years, and I swore I never would wear it again. Now
it's in.
Now I love it. Yeah. So if you like anything that I've talked about, if you want to learn how to move forward in your life, physical, mental resiliency is what my show, Ever Forward Radio, is all about. We've got a great episode coming out with you, actually. Yes. And I had a lot of fun with you. I had a lot of fun with the questions, and I really kind of pushed my comfort zone a little bit because it's a lot of health, wellness. It's been my niche for a long time, but I'm really eager and excited to connect with other people of all different walks of life and just living a life ever forward, as I say, like you do.
Absolutely.
So check out Ever Forward Radio anywhere you like or subscribe or watch podcasts. And then that's the long format version of moving forward in life. And then every day I'm doing it and practicing it myself on social media. So at Chase_Chewning. Yes.
Make sure you guys tune into all things that Chase has going on. Follow him on social media, Chase_Chewning. And make sure you guys tune into his podcast, Ever Forward Radio. And our episode coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. On my birthday. And that is it for Telli Talks.